Welcome to the Patriot Hour. I'm Michael, your host for 6/22/18. Got a few things to go over here this morning. Peter Strzok, Q clearance, Q Anon, any new breadcrumbs, drops. We're going to look into that. A couple things to go over this morning, folks, so stick around and we're going to get right into it.
Q, this isn't me. You know what letter that is, Grover?
I think so.
What letter is this?
Q.
Q, this isn't me.
Hey, Froggy.
All right, welcome back to the Patriot Hour. Again, I'm Michael, your host. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Please subscribe, toggle the switch to get the alerts. So when we put out a video, you get that alert and you know. Other than that, maybe drop us a line down below after the video. Like, share on all your social media platforms. There's huge censorship going on right now. I mean, a few friends were just seeing that last night on one of the social media platforms, testing it out. All right, so let's jump right on in. Okay, so FBI agent, right, Peter Strzok has lost his security clearance now. Why hasn't he lost his job? Says Jeff Sessions, following Trump taunt that he's a sick individual. So here we go. After all the reports, the IG, that's, you know, yeah, when they found the emails, that's when, you know, Comey removed them. But the guy still had his job. Now we know he's a testifying witness. Q even said he's a cooperating witness. So we know he is a, you know, supposedly that, and that's come out now. So it was Q saying at first, you know, not trust him or nothing, but that he was a cooperating witness. He knew he did wrong. And folks, I'll say this again and again, in the history books, at the final hour, all throughout time, you've had bad people that, I mean, every good movie will show it too. You'll have a bad actor, a bad, you know, somebody that was good in the beginning, you know, goes the wrong way, gets blackmailed, suckered in for the money, does the wrong things for the wrong reasons. And then at the very final hour, they will redeem themselves. Not 100%. That doesn't mean that everything's forgiven. You might not get as much jail time. You might, you know, just depending on your crimes. That's why some of these people are going to be able to walk away from DC. Their punishment is to go away. If they've been found of crimes high enough up or hurting others, killing others that involved directly in that, you know, you did a little side deal, you got a bunch of money, you signed something, but, you know, 200 people died over here, you're probably not going to be able to walk away. This administration's being fair. They're being by the book. Everything that they have done has been by the book, by the code of honor. It's just unbelievable. So we know Peter P. Strzok II is a United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI agent. Strzok was a chief of counter-espionage section during the FBI's investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of personal email servers. Strzok rose to become the deputy assistant director, the dad, right, of the counterintelligence division. So he was the dad of the counterintelligence division of the FBI, which is the #2 position in that division, and led the FBI investigation into Russia interference in the 2016 United States elections. So this guy was removed from the building on Friday, escorted last Friday. Here it is 1 Friday later, 1 week, and he has had his security clearance removed. Funny, that never happened to Clinton, you know, found of. So it's very clear where was this collusion, if it existed. Where was the bias? Well, it's very clear. The same folks that were all around the Hillary Clinton investigation, interviewing her, looking at all the physical evidence. Did you literally, I mean, how does one take a thumb drive out of a building on accident with some security stuff on there and get hemmed up? And, but, if you have a server set up and you just send everything over to it, yeah, that's the same thing. You're not above the law. You don't get to make the law. And just because the president was playing along with you back then, you all need to be looked at. Obama knows it. Hillary knows it. And so does all the left-winged media and all the propaganda tool. They all know it. And they're all colluding. They're all colluding at a level that is just, we've never seen. We've all heard and known that the left, is a propaganda. The left owns the media. The people that own the media are left or left think tankers. And we've known that for decades, but we're seeing it at an all-time peak, an all-time high of it. Like they're really, really in overdrive with it. So it's getting interesting. It's going to get worse probably before it gets any better. So I just want to touch base on that he lost his, it's just another step. And it's like, wow, it's a real slow moving step, but at least it's a step. The guy is no longer there. He's no longer got a clearance. I mean, what can you do at this point with the FBI? Clean the parking lot, clean toilets, scuttlebutts, wax the floors, reload everybody's, office supplies. I mean, what are you doing? All right, so let's move on here. Let's see, any new Q? Like I said the other last night or earlier yesterday, I don't expect anything till Saturday for the question and answer on Saturday, right? Time to be determined. We got a whole bunch of good stuff last week. We got a whole bunch, like I said, a whole bunch of drops. There's just not, I'd rather see the results unfold than just more Q post with things about to come. I'm ready for it. And I know you guys are too. We're just waiting for the little bit more of a flip. And I can see how they've done this as a military op. It's been done really well. It's organically showing in steps. You can't say from very low level up to the high. Well, they're starting at a pretty high level, but it's still low enough away from, some of these other people. But it's going to show the head of this guy, the heads of these agencies, FBI, DOJ, more and more and more. And the ties are natural. These people weren't just doing this on their own either. Why would a mid-level career guy with 20 plus years or close to retirement like all these people were, or some of them, they put their butts out on the line and their whole careers, whether their whole careers are tainted or not, I couldn't imagine that it was. But they really screwed themselves here at the end for somebody they thought they were going to win. If that was the biggest thing she needed to win, to keep this all covered up. I mean, all of this stuff. Look the way they were treating Devin Nunes off the intelligence communities when about a year ago. We didn't know any of this, but they were acting like, just leave it alone. The FBI does good work. Now that we got all these reports coming out, heads are spinning. People are getting fired. People are losing security clearances. This would have all went down as another conspiracy theory. Just another conspiracy theory if the media had their way and the people that did all the damage and that are doing the bad, the evil, had their way. It would have just been another conspiracy theory, right? But since we got that guy and an IG report came out and they're investigating everything, and we had good, patriotic people willing to stand up for what was right and do the right thing. We can only be so blessed. Such a blessing that this just didn't get all covered up. Okay, we're going to go to Donald J. Trump. Looks like he changed his background photo. So, building a stronger America has got some cat vehicles back there, some farm equipment, front end loaders, bulldozers, all kinds of stuff. Okay, we got a couple here from minutes ago, 52, 37. I'll go down here, read a few more. He's been pumping them out this morning, it looks like. Our great Judge Giannini Piero is out with a new book, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals. The Case Against the Anti-Trump Conspiracy, which is fantastic. Go get it. Even if we get 100% Republican votes in the Senate, we need 10 Democratic votes to get a much-needed immigration bill passed. And the Dems are obstructionists who won't give votes for political reasons and because they don't care about crime coming from the border. So we need to elect more R's. Elect more Republicans in November and we will pass the finest, fairest, and most comprehensive immigration bills anywhere in the world. Right now we have the dumbest and worst. Dems are doing nothing but obstructing, remembering their motto, resist, ours. Resist. Ours is produce. Republicans should stop wasting their time on immigration until we elect more senators and congresswomen, men and women, in November. Dems are just playing games, have no intention of doing anything to solve this decades-old problem. We can pass great legislation after the red wave. Governor Henry McMaster is a truly fine man who loves the people of South Carolina. He was one of my very early supporters and truly helped me to a big South Carolina victory. I will see you all in South Carolina on Monday, and Vice President Pence will be there for Henry on Saturday. Congresswoman Martha Roby of Alabama has been a constant and reliable vote for our Make America Great Again agenda. She is in a Republican primary runoff against a recent Nancy Pelosi voting Democrat. I fully endorse Martha for Alabama 2nd Congressional District. Congressman Ron DeSantis, a top student at Yale and Harvard Law School, is running for governor of the great state of Florida. Ron is strong on the boards, tough on crime, and big on cutting taxes. Loves our military and our vets. He will be a great governor and has my full endorsement. Breaking, this is off CNN, First Lady Melania Trump touches down in McAllen, Texas, making an unannounced trip to get a first-hand look at the crisis affecting immigrant families at the U.S. border. First Lady makes surprise trip to U.S.-Mexico border. %80 of Mexico's exports come to the United States. They totally rely on us, which is fine with me. They do have, though, very strong immigration laws. The U.S. has pathetically weak and ineffective immigration laws that the Democrats refuse to help us fix. We'll speak to Mexico. Good. I hope they do. I don't care anymore what people are saying here. It's gotten to what the right way is, and then just what they think. There's rules, and then what they think. There's laws, and then what they think. They want to hit you where, you know, they want to make decisions based. I mean, again, we've said it. We don't want kids in cages, but we want to fix the issue. We don't want to just band-aid their little issue, and they're horning in on on a thing where people are coming to the border, people are being separated, kids are getting taken, but most of the kids getting taken are deemed to have been found with a human trafficker, a drug muler. The parents aren't there, the kids are alone, and crossing in an illegal spot. Now, the one issue that they're talking about bigly is they're crossing in an illegal spot. The parent is found to be a convicted past offender, felony crimes from our country or from their country of origin. Again, separation happens. So it's a really small a number compared to the human trafficking. That's huge. The drugs that are destroying and killing people. People are ignoring that. They're talking about a separation because that's what they're seeing. That's what the media, if the media was to show them the human trafficking at an all-time scale, they would, you know, be on board with where I'm at, or all of us. If you showed, you know, the drug flow, and then maybe how it's destroying. I mean, we all see that, and we're just so used to it here. We blame people. Oh, he's a, you know, druggy abuser. They don't care about where the drug, the heroin, or some of these other things, crack, cocaine, came from. They just like to point fingers, and that's a loser person, and they don't think about how their kids are suffering from that, or the kids are on the drugs, and sometimes both cases. But either it's the parents or the kids, and it's destroying lives. Again, I'm not saying this is great, but at least our government is there to swoop up these ones that are getting separated. They give them a decent place. If I'm not saying the cages are decent, I'm saying that's got to be extra short term. If there is some kind of cage, I don't know where them pictures came from. I haven't really understood that, but I think it's just a temporary holding thing for hours, not days or anything. And you know, once they get to these facilities, they're, you know, eating in cafeterias. There's, you know, beds, blankets, showers, you know, counseling, medical treatment, all of that great stuff, which right at that point, our government is doing better for them than their country of origin, than their parents, evidently, if they sent them alone or gave them to a drug trafficker or a human trafficker. But people want to horn in on our government just separating, just, you know, and it's like, are they just doing it to do it just because it's a fun game? No. How about the human trafficking? That's a fun game to somebody, you know, to the people doing it, not to the kids that it's happening to, or the humans just in general, adults, teenagers, kids. Come on, man. People need to wake up. All right, let's move on here. So I got Melania down at the border. 80% of Mexico's exports come to the United States, so that's a good thing. We don't mind that. We must maintain a strong southern border. We cannot allow our country to have to be overrun by illegal immigrants as Democrats tell their phony stories of sadness and grief, hoping it will help them in the elections. Obama and others had the same pictures and did nothing about it. Hope OPEC will increase output substantially. Need to keep prices down. Based on the tariffs and trade barriers long placed on the U.S., it is a great company. Okay. Based on the tariffs and trade barriers long placed on the U.S. and its great companies and workers by the European Union, if these tariffs and barriers are not soon broken down and removed, we will be placing a 20% tariff on all of their cars coming into the U.S. Build them here, he says. So he's huge on, getting the work back here, being fair with how it works. If, we don't do, you guys bring in 1 million cars, and can we bring in 50,000 to your country? Yeah, but you're going to have to pay quite a bit to bring them 50,000. Oh, deal. That's how Clinton did it in the 90s. We know that. Really unfair stuff going on, probably because they were donating maybe to the Clinton Foundation back then, or a little bit of money would end up over here for him. That's how they did things. They didn't do it literally like, write me a check, I'll take that today. But they did benefit. They profited their friends, their families and friends profited. That's how it always works with them. So it's a funny situation, folks. We need to secure that border. It's going to tie up. It's going to fix a lot of things, a lot of things. We won't see this. It'll be at a smaller scale if we did, and then it could even be better. You can really horn in on the ones coming across. You've taken out a lot of other angles. We have these places where they can cross, and if you're legit, you're not going to be separated. The reason a lot of them are crossing at places that aren't legit is because they're not legit, and they know it. And then they have a kid with them thinking that'll pull on the strings, tug on the heartstrings of the ICE agent that catches them or something. But these guys, I'm sure they're dealing with things inside when they see little kids, but they still got a job to do, and it's the job. Keep in mind, people fleeing from lawless countries. How did they get lawless? What's going on? You have populations of people, governments that are supposedly voted in. Yeah, sometimes you have a bad element, cartels and gangs. They're propped up by other governments, or but man, you have a small fraction of the government. You have this gangs or cartels, but the population is just fleeing from that. I mean, all for just that small of group. Not saying that they need to go just run into gunfire, but man, if you could just take that back from these small facet of people and have your great country back, and then you do the right thing with it, restart it, however your country's lingo or wordage is on that. But I would imagine that we're just sitting idle where you have all these, we keep talking, well, these countries the governments are pillaging the people and taking their land and all their monies. And, well, what the heck? Why are we allowing that? Why isn't that being talked about? Why isn't it anything else that has to do with just our fault at the border? And I get it. That's the immediate fire. That's where the fire's at right now. So, but the way that it's going, all we can do is keep letting them in, and they're just going to keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. These people are fleeing lawless countries. The very first thing they do when they get to our country, a lot of them are breaking the law here. So, and you cannot ignore the fact that we have had wars. They created refugees under the Barack and Hillary. When she was Secretary of State, they went around and they did a lot of dirty things, played a lot of political games with countries, took a lot of political chances, and they created vacuums. They created the mess in Syria. And then, of course, these two same people, Obama and Hillary, are up on TV preaching to us about how we need to take these people in. Well, they created an issue. Of course they feel horrible, or that was their whole plan. We're going to create this over here. It's going to create a huge issue, and then we're going to get tens of thousands of refugees pouring in. That's a way that we're going to do it. So we're going to dislocate people out of their countries of origin where they're actually happy, bring them here. Not happy at the moment because of what's going on, but probably had been happy there at one point. That was their home country. And that's just a very evil thing to do, and then to shove the people onto us. And if you have young kids, in Honduras or Mexico or Syria for refugees, and that's all they've seen for 5 years, maybe they're only 8 years old. So for the first 5 years, when they're a small child, they're not going to remember, but they're going to remember the war, the rapings, the killings, the dead bodies. Maybe they witness a lot of violence. and to just wisp them out of there and then bring them here and have them in a classroom next to United States kids. Not that, it's like, well, they're not used to that. We know that. We have kids at home that see abuse and, alcoholism and drug abuse and just abuse of many kinds. Maybe they get abused or they witness it to a sibling, a loved mother that they're seeing their dad. I mean, I get it. And those kids tend to already have issues at school, don't they? Just from witnessing that stuff. They're the ones that might pick on little Johnny on the playground a little more because he sees his dad picking on him or feels it, and now he's going to rub that off to this guy. And that's an issue, and the teachers step in. These kids are constantly down in the principal's office. But now you're going to have kids coming from these war-torn places. We have vets that have PTSD, right? And they need help. And, everyone's like, yeah, bring them over here. They're kids. They're kids. That's all they say. Well, kids are sometimes can be cruel to other kids, and it's only because of what they learned, all right? I understand that. It's what they saw. It's what they witnessed. It's what they've learned. But don't they need help? Wouldn't they, bringing them over here and maybe getting them in a center with other kids and some counseling for a few months, would that be inhumane? You're ripping them from the parents. Maybe they, put the parents up and when you bring these refugees over, you put them up somewhere and the kids go to a special defusing school, counseling strictly. It might take 6 months. You can't just bring these people in from wherever they're coming from, their lawless countries. You want to use lawless in one word, but then everyone needs to be able to come over. Well, how long before we're lawless? And then they're going to be fleeing right back out of here because this is lawless. This country's screwed up. Where else do we go? And everyone starts running around. There's not too many other places that are taking people. Where do we all run to when we become lawless? Keep that in mind. Where do we turn? Where do we go? Who's going to take you? We don't want to come that way. And I don't want to hear, well, we're not even close there yet. We're living pretty good over here. These are the same things I've said time and time again to lots of people over in just different scenarios. One job I had when I got out of the service from military contracting, and the way they were operating their business, they had a couple different things going on, and on this one particular job we were doing, but they started bringing people over from this other plant, and it was union. But there was different contracts with different things. It was one big conglomerate company ahead of it. And I was like, well, hey, you're bringing people over from this other building that are getting laid off. And some of them have more time. Like, we were separate on list. But when they brought them over, they added on to our union list. And according to their start dates, some would go under. Most were going above some of us. And we were like, hey, we're not we're laterally moving downward on this list. As a union, when people come in the door, we go up. Oh, these people already started, and well, that's not in our contracts. So there's actually 2 contracts for them over there. They had it written up to where they could come. They had it in ours to where we couldn't go in there. If we did, we'd have to start at the bottom. It said it. So it was kind of a loophole. We were in there bitching about when layoffs come. And they're like, oh my God, they didn't want to hear about it because at the time we were at 10-hour days. Here's a company going under a couple 100 feet away in another building, different contracts. So they were going to bring them over. Here we are at 10-hour days, getting overtime, keeping union brothers and sisters working. And I was all for that, but just the way they were doing it. And I had said, well, when layoffs come, and they just rolled their eyes. They didn't want to hear about something that didn't exist yet. But about a year and a half later, it existed. We started laying off. And, I had been there like eight years. So I've been called back from them, and I told them to go shove it, years ago, because I had equal time of, being there. I had like an 8-year callback. So it was funny that it took a couple of years, things picked back up, and then they're calling. But at that point, I had moved on to doing what I do now, which is much, much better. All right, so here we're at the 30-minute mark. Wow, I wanted to just touch base on the things I touched base on. We read some Trump tweets, went over the Anon, Q clearance was nothing new. I will check again just while we're sitting here. But Peter struck. Lost his clearance. Now we're waiting for him to testify. I think next week or possibly whenever that goes down. He said he's a cooperating witness. It's come out on the news now that he's cooperating. He's going to testify. He's going to talk. He wants to talk. So that's good. That's good. We need this. We need, I think the whole point of going around this whole, they've been honeypotting. They've gotten people into certain places. They've gotten people to flip key people. That's typically the good old FBI would work that way. They wouldn't just come in and then take down the whole house of cards. They want key players that can help take down the whole thing and make sure they get the whole thing and know everything ahead of time of going to talk to people. And once you go to tell them that they're, a key person in an investigation and they're looking at them and we need to sit down and talk with you, these people get nervous and it's like, what do they know? What do they know? You never know. So if you're not careful, you get caught. One of the first things, you're always going to get caught lying to the FBI. All right. They come knocking on your door, folks, asking, where were you last Tuesday? Act like they don't know. They already know where you were last Tuesday. So the questions they ask, they're just seeing if you're going to tell them the truth. And there is sometimes one or two things they won't know. But, all right, I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. We appreciate you sticking around, watching. It's Friday. I'm going to get another little video out here soon. I want to do another little meme, mega meme, Q-drop video. I'll get one of them out. And then again, probably later this evening. Any new breaking news today? We're going to check into any new Q drops. Of course, I will do those. Real quick here, I want to... Just want to look at this. They're talking about Rod Rosenstein possibly being fired today. So, all right, nothing huge yet. Again, it's early, but anything pops off, like I said, I'm gonna keep everything up and running today in here. So it's just a matter of coming in and getting going. So. Appreciate you stopping by. You guys, all of you, God bless each and every one of you. Really, I love all of you for everything. That's we're nearing 25,000 subscribers. The collective comments down below points us all into great. I know some of the other guys involved with the channel. Scott, he loves just sitting there and reading lots of the comments. It just really takes us into researches and angles. And I did get that picture of the ring by somebody, a really great copy. Now I see it's kind of floating around everywhere. But great stuff collectively together. We have been going through this journey, learning, understanding, and just all being really on board with what's coming out. And what we all are expecting is probably pretty on board. The collective thought is a huge thing, and like Q says, together, collectively, all of us, it's a huge threat to this this well-devised system that has been in play for a long time, well-oiled, well-greased, and just moving along. And we're going to be derailing that. It's already been derailed on a huge level, but you still have a few of these really bad actors steering that, running it, driving the locomotive. So it's coming. They know it's coming. The best that they're doing right now is stalling it out a little bit. Soon they will not be able to walk the streets. That is their worst fear. The public's awakening is the elite's nightmare. All right, let's put it that way. The public's awakening is the elite's nightmare. And good, because we're tired of the old norms. All right, I'm Michael. God bless. Again, share, like, and fight. See you back here real soon on the next update video. And here is your cue.
You know what letter that is, Grover?
I think so.
What letter is this?
Q.
Q. This is indeed a